It's a delight and privilege to catch up with RN Mohanty, the CEO of Sightsavers India. Thank you so much, RN, for taking time to catch up.
My pleasure. Yeah.
RN, I mean, I understand Sightsavers India has been working in India since 1966. I mean, that's quite a bit of time.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering, whether you could probably, let the listeners know on what Sightsavers does in India.
Okay, as you very rightly said, we came to India in 1966 and probably got ourselves registered in 1970 as an Indian organization. But yes, there is a kind of history wall that we always kind of talk about, how the first 10 years went, and the founder, Sir John Wilson, talking to Sitapurai Hospital, and starting some camps and those kind of things, in the initial days. But gradually, as we moved, we kind of expanded our both our area of work, our geography, and our content of our work. So if you look at the last 5 years of our work, we are now in India working in 100 districts of 8 priority states. They are UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, Rajasthan, West Bengal, Orissa, Chhattisgarh, and West Bengal. So these are the 8 states, and we work in 100 districts of these 8 states. We have 3 kind of program themes. One is, of course, eye health. You know about it, which is to address issues around avoidable blindness. And the second one is inclusive education, which is mainstreaming children with visual impairment into government schools, mainstreaming them into government schools. And the third one is, we call it as social inclusion. This is about making sure that people with disabilities have equal rights and kind of have an equal status in this society. So we have different kind of these 3 themes and different programs around these 3 themes in India. But the geography is large. We work in 100 districts. So our aim is to transform these 100 districts in the next 5 years.
And Arun, I mean, I would presume that these 100 districts that you work on, these are, where the reach is not that great from other organizations. So you pick this based on where the need is high and where you could make a difference, I presume?
Yes, Vinod, let me tell you quickly. I'll try to be brief again. When we, in 2015, designed our strategy, we looked at many indicators to define. Before 2015, we were working in 19 states. So we thought, how do we make sure with limited resources, we kind of we impact much better than what we currently do. So we kind of, like any other development organization, we ranked our states in terms of HDI, and then we kind of superimposed the multidimensional poverty index into it. And once we did all of that, we superimposed the eye health indicators into the states. So the rankings changed a bit once we put eye health indicators, and based on some of the players who are working in Northeast and some of our own strategic partners who were also present in other states, we decided on these 8 states, saying that these are the 8 states which probably need us more than any other state. And once we decided that, we used the same criteria to look at the districts within these. So one of the things, if you see our districts, so if the CSR, the cataract surgical rate in India is on an average of 5,200, all our districts are far below that. If I just have to tell you about one particular indicator, I mean, there are districts in Bihar and Orissa where 100 surgeries are done in a year. So we picked up those districts in 2015. And we have worked there in those districts for 5 years. And then the next strategic periods, we will also work there. So we are talking about 100 districts, probably close to 10 years of work, and make things sustainable and then come out of it. That's how it's the strategy.
Maybe I think what you just said now leads me to my next question. The key issue is sustainability. So you go there, you do something, it's not not something you just do and come off. You focus quite a bit on sustainability. So, I mean, how do you approach that issue when you look at, in one district, you go there, you want to do something, what are aspects you really want to make sure that what you do has got a long-term impact?
Okay, so I mean, I'll give you my views in terms of sustainability, but so two things we decided, Vinod, when we got into these districts. Um, we said these are the districts which definitely need players like Sightsavers to work. So that's number one, and it's a population-based approach. So we said whether we will go there, whether we know the kind of work we do in eye health, we need a partner. We have to have a partner to do this, and many of our partners were probably not in these districts. So right from the beginning, we said, we will work with a private partner and also the government partner. So system strengthening as an approach was actually taken right from the beginning of 2015, saying that, and even as of now, out of the 100 districts we work, 36 of the districts we only work with government. And the remaining we work with both government and private players, hospitals like, private hospitals, you know all of them. But there are still 36 districts where we completely work with government. We have a MOU with state government. We say, well, this is what we will do over the first few years, and this is what is the government's responsibility. We will make sure that things improve, and then government takes over and things happen, and then we gradually move out. In terms of and that has happened in many districts in Bihar, in Orissa. We have, I mean, to tell you, some of our vision centers are now being moved to government PSCs. So we are saying in the next strategy, all our vision centers will gradually move to all government PSCs, so that that is sustainability. So to me, I mean, I have two views on this. One is, in a sector like ours, immediately sustainability means the mind goes to finances. Saying that, is that vision center sustainable, means is that vision center earning enough money to sustain us? But I'm saying we are also looking at both programmatic and financial sustainability of our work. So if programmatically we can sustain it through government, that itself is sustainability for us. If it's a private player and we are talking about sustainability, so we are talking about, okay, if a private hospital with us is doing 2,800 surgeries now for the next 2-3 years, how in the fourth year they will continue to do that number? So we are working on a business plan with them and making sure that there is a revenue generation model and things kind of go and converge at a point where we can say that this is both programmatically and financially sustainable. So there's a lot of focus over the next 5 years, Vinod, from Sightsavers India in terms of making these things sustainable and understanding sustainability well. It's not purely about that the vision center is earning enough money to sustain it.
Yeah. Actually, you're reinforcing exactly what somebody who was involved with politics, who I spoke to last week, said. He said, the best way for sustainability is to work with the government, especially they have such good infrastructure, but they have their own struggles. So I think, in many ways, you're just reinforcing and it's great. My very last question is, there are lots of NGOs who come here, they do things, some, just come and go. Some are here, probably trying really hard, they are in for the long journey. What are things that you would advise them, based on your experience, on what they should not be doing?
Oh, first of all, they should not be doing a fly-by-night kind of NGO. So they should not have that at all in their mind. I mean, I'll tell you when I some years back in 2004. I went to work in Nagapattinam in Tamil Nadu during the tsunami. And the collector told me that particular day, 329 NGOs were registered, just because tsunami came. And then the same collector I met after a year, they said all of them are gone. So that kind of thing is something that I would recommend that it shouldn't happen. I mean, largely, social change takes time. Social change doesn't happen overnight. So if you want to impact some of these districts, you need to stay for longer. So my first recommendation is that, make sure that you're here for some time. That these things will take time. These things will not change overnight. So you be there, figure out, build local capacities, work with local NGOs, take it forward. And like we said earlier, make sure that if there is a milestone you have for yourself, how do you make that irreversible? When we were kids in development sector, we were taught that sustainability is something where you decide on a few milestones and make sure those milestones are irreversible. If those milestones are reversible, then that is not sustainable. So this is something that NGOs, I would advise that they must work, they must define their milestones and make sure they follow a process, they achieve that in a manner that is irreversible. In many of the government hospitals, we have just moved from 200 surgeries to 400 surgeries in 5 years, which is fine. But now when I see this as irreversible. Mm-hmm. But if I had funded something for 100 camps and X number of surgeries and we stopped that funding, those 100 camps are stopped. But even if a small change in many of the government hospitals in Bihar actually are now, I'm seeing them as irreversible. So I feel a lot of happiness inside saying that, okay, here is a milestone and that looks like it is irreversible. Government is taking it forward. So that's what would be my advice to the NGOs, newer NGOs who are coming in, and then don't create a parallel system. This is the third one, and nothing parallel is sustainable. Work with the system that already exists, strengthen it, and move forward. And the achievements will be far more. NGOs who are actually focusing on numbers, my advice is still that you will achieve your numbers, in a much easier way if you don't create any parallel system. Work with the system already existing, be it private, be it government. There is a system, strengthen this and move forward. You see your output numbers also will be high. So system strengthening approach is something which will give you results that you'll be very happy about in the long run.
So thank you so much for your time, and congratulations on you being the new president of Vision 2020 India.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I look forward to being in touch.
Same here. Thank you so much talking to you, Vinod. Yeah.